The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Stickland.
Chair recognizes Mr. Stickland to explain the amendment.
Members, House Bill 1177 is a good bill, and we're about to make it great with this amendment. We are simply changing evacuating from to traveling through or from. We're striking out or and adding a state of disaster under federal law. And we're simply changing 168 hours to just 365 days. And I move passage.
Ms. Speaker.
Ms. Israel, for what purpose?
A question for the gentleman about the amendment.
Mr. Stickland, would you yield for question?
Yield for a question.
He would, Ms. Israel. Go ahead.
Representative Stickland, I got all of the edits, but I don't know the implication of the edits. Would you explain it, please?
We're taking this great bill that expands Second Amendment rights and recognizes that Texans have the right to exist and protect themselves, especially in the state of a declared disaster. And we're making it a little bit better. We're moving 168 hours to 365 days.
Ms. Speaker.
Ms. Israel, for what
I'd
purpose?
like to raise a point of order on Mr. Stickland's amendment.
Bring your point of order
I object to her
forward,
point of
please.
order.
Representative Israel raises a point of order against further consideration of the Stickland Amendment to House Bill 1177 under Rule 11, Section 2 of the House Rules on the grounds that the amendment is not germane. In the opinion of the chair, the subject of the bill is the authority of a person to carry a handgun without a license in limited circumstances while evacuating an area that has been declared a state of disaster. The amendment would effectively expand the circumstances under which a person could carry a handgun without a license in unknown and clearly broader circumstances than those embraced by the bill. The amendment is therefore not germane. Accordingly, the point of order is well taken and sustained. He's got several more minutes. I think he's filing them one at a time and not showing them to the author, which is fine. The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Stickland.
Chair recognizes Mr. Stickland to explain the amendment.
Members, this amendment simply strikes hours and substitutes it with years. Move
Ms.
passage.
Israel, for what purpose?
Ms. Speaker.
For what purpose, Ms. Israel?
A question of Representative Stickland, please.
Mr. Stickland, would you yield?
I yield.
Representative Stickland, you're really good at telling me the words that you're editing, but I'm going to ask you again, what's the intent of your amendment? What are you trying to achieve?
I think it's very clear I'm trying to make this good piece of legislation last longer.
Can you elaborate, please?
He's not explaining his amendment.
I don't know what else you want to hear, then I want it to extend it. This is simply striking out hours and substituting it with years.
I don't understand the need to extend it when Representative Phelan is trying to
I think he's
talk
got a good
about-
bill. I think that when a disaster comes through the state of Texas, that it upends people's lives and things are crazy. Sometimes their house is destroyed. I think he's got a good bill, and I want it to last longer than a couple of hours.
Are you expanding the time of an emergency declaration?
No.
When you say you want it to last longer, I don't understand. What are
I'm
you?
sorry you don't understand what I mean, but what I mean is I want his bill to last longer than it currently is written. So I want it to be years instead of hours. Thank you.
Ms. Speaker, I'd like
Move
to raise
passage.
a point of order.
Bring your point of order forward, please. Ms. Israel, go to the back mic, please. Ms. Israel, go to the back mic, please. What rule are you raising the point under?
Ms. Speaker, I'm raising a point of order on Rule 11, Sections 2 and 3.
On the grounds?
On the grounds of germaneness.
Thank you. Would you bring your point of order forward, please? Representative Israel raises a point of order against further consideration of the Stickland Amendment to House Bill 1177 under Rule 11, Section 2 of the House Rules on grounds that the amendment is not germane. In the opinion of the chair, the subject of the bill is the authority for a person to carry a handgun without a license in limited circumstances while evacuating an area that has been declared a state of disaster. Similar to Amendment Number 2, this amendment would effectively expand the circumstances under which a person could carry a handgun without a license in monstrously broader circumstances than those embraced by the bill. The amendment is therefore not germane. Accordingly, the point of order is well taken and sustained. The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Stickland.
The chair recognizes Mr. Stickland to explain the amendment.
Members, this is just clarifying something else, and I believe this amendment is acceptable to the author.
The amendment is acceptable to the author. Mr. Stickland sends up amendment. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there any objection? Chair sees none. The amendment is adopted. Does anyone wish to speak on, for, or against House Bill 1177? Chair, seeing none, chair recognizes Mr. Phelan to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move passage.
Mr. Stickland is correct. Excuse me, backup members. Mr. Stickland has requested a record vote on the passage to engrossment of House Bill 1177. Its a record vote is granted. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed vote nay. The clerk will ring the bill. Show Mr. Shaheen voting aye. Show Mr. Lamont voting aye. Show Mr. Phelan voting aye. Have all voted? Being 105 ayes, 37 nays, House Bill 1177 passes to engrossment.